As you study magic and navigate through this fascinating topic, the term folk magic will surely come up. As it happens, there's always a great deal of curiosity around folk magic and its practitioners. People often confuse it with witchcraft, and some even believe practitioners are necessarily religious and worship a specific lord. Others believe that people who practice this magic are polytheistic or nature worshippers. There's a reason why folk magic is often associated with religion and gods. Modern practitioners working with magico-religion have adopted folk magic in their practices, resulting in many misconceptions about this practice. However, folk magic is different from magical practices associated with religion, such as Druidry, Wicca, and shamanism. In this first chapter, we will clear any misconceptions you may have about folk magic and explain what makes it different from other types of magic. Folk Magic Explained. Despite being one of the oldest magical practices in the world, folk magic has managed to adapt to modern practices and other cultures. Essentially, folk magic is an umbrella term that encompasses various magical practices. What distinguishes these practices from other types of magic is that they are all practiced by the common folk. In other words, it isn't a type of ceremonial magic that requires specific skills or any professional practitioner. Folk magic differs from other types of magic mainly due to its practicability. It focuses on practical issues and helping people and the community. For example, it can help women struggling with fertility, bring good luck, help people find love, drive evil spirits away, cure disease, and often retrieve lost objects. Since this type of magic was practiced by common folks who were often illiterate back then, it relied on oral traditions, and the spells were simple enough for them to memorize. Working with folk magic is not complicated, since most of the materials needed are common and they include wood, nails, plants, eggshells, stones, coins, and twine. The history of folk magic. By definition, folk practices are old, maybe even ancient. For instance, Scottish folk magic can be traced back to the old way of life. Different cultures influenced this particular tradition, including the Saxons, the Angles, the Gaelic, the Pictish, the Norman, and the Norse. It borrowed from ancient mythologies and traditions until it formed its own combination of folklore and myth. Although folk magic has developed, become independent, and created its own folklore and mythology, it still holds on to its original system of culture and politics. Luckily, folk magic has not disappeared in the confines of history, as many literal folks were able to preserve it by writing it down. Today, we know about their rituals, their prayers, their practices, the beliefs, the festivals, the celebrations, and the songs. For example, one of the more interesting practices passed down to us is rans. The folks sang these special songs before bedtime, when waking up, when sowing seeds, and before picking plants. The main characteristic of folk magic. Folk magic has many distinguishable traits. For starters, it's a simple practice available to the greatest number. It's often practiced orally, and it helps with issues that people deal with in their daily lives. Practitioners also customize the rituals and items they use based on the target of their spell. This is meant to link the target and the symbols together. Generally speaking, spells in folk magic use various elements from nature, like water, stones, and plants. For instance, practitioners use stones to help the ill, tie pieces of cloth onto sacred wells for faster healing, and use holy stones as tools to see into the world of the spirits. Another trait that distinguishes folk magic is that it can be practiced with any type of readily available tool. Unlike many other practices, rituals also don't play a great role in folk magic. That's the beauty of folk magic. It's straightforward, and since it's the magic of the common folk, it doesn't require anything special or anything over the top. Every practitioner can choose the methods they see fit. This type of practical magic is ideal for normal daily needs and can be practiced with minimal effort.